Real Sports Fan Podcast, live for another one. First Monday in May. First Monday in May. Thank God for another day. Thank God I got my brother here, brother DJ, Desiree Change. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, man?
Did I pronounce it right?
Yeah, close enough, man.
What's the pronouncing it? How you pronounce what's the correct?
DeJari.
DeJari.
Close enough, man.
DeJari. Appreciate that.
Happy.
Let me know if the sound is bad. Let me know. We had some audio issues earlier last week, so let me know if the sound ain't good. I had to switch I had to switch phones, so I ain't got a lot of charge on that. We're gonna flow with that one anyway. We appreciate everybody. What's up, Sister Penny?
What's up, man?
We appreciate everybody joining us, tuning in. And again, as I always say, even though this is the Real Sports Fan Podcast, we talk about a lot more than just sports, especially with everything going on right now with the coronavirus and everything. It's a good chance to get into a lot of other stuff and different people's stories and everything like that. So we're going to be talking to Brother DJ, getting into a little bit of his story. Also, he's a musician in the church, among obviously a minister as well, if you didn't know, in the church. So we're going to get into a few things here, and please share, comment, any questions or comments, please do that, and we'll try to get to you. We are still, we got our sanitizer here in case we need it, so we're still, in case we need it, so we still being safe, while we're here as well. So we'll go ahead and get right into it. Again, brother, I appreciate you coming through, man, and I think we know each other. I think 11, 12 years now, maybe probably longer than that. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. I'm 35 now. We met early 20s. You know what I'm saying? Early 20s. We always seen each other and stuff like that. So, we always been. We always had a good spirit about you, and we always hit it off real good. So, again, thanks for coming, man. So,
yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Just the first thing, sports related. Was there a sport growing up that you played, or is there a sport now that you follow a little bit?
And I always, growing up, I liked basketball and liked football. Got into liking football, but basketball, back when, Michael Jordan was out and, he was the latest thing, and then like Allen Iverson.
Yeah, that's right. Huh?
So, I always liked them guys, and got down with other teams too. But
did you? Speaking of Michael Jordan, they've had the Last Dance documentary on ESPN. Did you get to look at any of that?
Man, I haven't had a chance to catch it yet. I want to peep it out because I hear a lot of good reviews.
That's great.
Talking about
great.
it.
Yeah,
so.
definitely. If you get a chance, man, check it out. Last night was episodes 5 and 6, and last night they got into the 92 finals, 93 finals, the Dream Team, a lot of the off the court stuff with Michael Jordan, with the dream, with the gambling and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely check it out. When you get
a little bit of his life.
A little bit of stuff off the court. Some of the things, controversial stuff that he ran into. So, I appreciate it. But what we're gonna do is first, I just want to ask, which I found out some information before we just started, which I didn't know you grew up. Right behind here. If you don't know, we're live at the BAM Center. Shout out to Derek Daly, Kendra Daly, everyone that supports. Growing up, how was it growing up? Just tell us a little bit about growing up, where you grew up at, and all that good stuff.
Growing up, it was. There are probably, many people say I was, like many people you spoiled. Like I said, I grew up back here in Parkway Apartments in 302, and like I said, man, it was. I had a spoiled life. I lived with my mom, and then also, God rest their souls, but I had my great grandparents that they so I wasn't really. I lived here, but also lived in Unionville as well. So
that's right.
So I was back and forth, but growing up it was. I think I had a good childhood. Like had some bumps and bruises and stuff, like anybody else. But I think it was childhood. It made me who I am today.
And did you graduate from Eastern? you graduate from Eastern?
I didn't graduate from Eastern. I went to Eastern School up until 8th grade, and then we relocated to Fellows-Burg.
You went to Colonel on me?
Yep.
Went to Colonel.
I ended up graduating.
On me. Okay.
Graduated from Colonel. So
that's what's up.
Graduated from Colonel in 2008. So
that's what's up. That's what's up. Brother Tyreek, what's going on? What's going on? Another fellow musician in Medicine.
Yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
So growing up, where did first? How were you introduced to? I'll say the church, and you know, obviously, you know, you have a relationship with the Lord.
Yeah.
But a lot of times when you're a kid, you're first introduced to church. You're going, you know, waking up on a Sunday, getting your outfit up together and going. So when were you introduced to going to church on a regular basis?
Again, I say I'm thankful to have my great grandparents. They kept me in church. They kept me in church with no ifs, ands, or buts. You know, you go into church. They picked out my clothes.
Mm-hmm.
They made. My grandfather, he always kept my hair cut, and
made sure.
You know, you were going. So church. I mean, church has always been in me. I practically was born and raised in the church. You know, all I know. And I was born and raised not just in the church, but I was born and raised in holiness. You know, I didn't get to understanding it until later on in life. But after a while, like most kids, you feel like, daggone, I'm in church Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Prayer service.
Yeah.
How many services we gonna have, Lord?
Yeah,
but,
you know. Yeah. And it was different back then too, because you know I grew up, you know, around this way as well, and went to Mount Pisgah Holiness Church at the Granville, Brittingham, and you know, Sundays, man, we had 3 services, you know, and that don't even count Sunday school. You know, we went to Sunday school, you know, 10 o'clock, we had morning service at 11, we had afternoon service at 3, then we used to have the evening service at 6.
Wow.
And I remember as a kid, you know, at the end of a service, especially when you had that many services, you know, it's funny because somebody posted yesterday that the cookies and the juice, you know, after them services as a kid, all you was worried about was after that, you was good, you get the cookies and the juice, you know, and you could help out and all that good stuff. And you know, and it was the cheap cookies and the cheap juice, but it was good, yeah. You know, that's all we
look
knew.
forward to that.
You look forward to that. You look forward to that, you know. So, what was your home church as a kid? What church did you go to?
I went to Greater Mount Zion Pentecostal Holiness. That's in Bethlehem. To now, sad to say, to shout out to my late pastor, he's going on, Bishop Chester Friend, who just took his rest.
Bishop Friend, yes. Family.
Shout out to the friend family. Definitely praying for y'all. My family, I count y'all as family. But yeah, so I was, man, born and raised there. We had Sunday service, Sunday service, Tuesday night Bible study, Thursday night Tarian service, and then, you know, when like pastor services come, you know, anniversaries, yeah, other services. But with that, not only just Greater Mount Zion, I also shout out to my great grandparents' church, which was Price Apostolic in Price, Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Bishop Costin Green.
Okay.
You know, I grew up in there too. So, you know, and that was again.
Yeah.
So I had.
Like I said, the foundation was laid.
Yeah, listen, I had no choice.
The foundation was laid.
And it goes farther back than me, you know, in my bloodline with holiness.
Yeah, and like you said, in the holiness is, you know, as kids, you know, sitting looking, being in the holiness church, like you were saying, is exactly how you said it. We didn't know all the time what was going on.
No.
You know what I mean? We look sometime, and I used to always say it, and I tell you this now, I used to be like, look, when I get older, I ain't going to church like this, and it don't take all that. But yeah, I'm tired of sitting on these pews. But you know, as you get older, even you know when you drift, if you drift away, yeah, you always come back, and not only you come back, but you come back to where foundation laid in holiness, like you said, you know, in holiness, and then we were looking at how they was dancing and shouting stuff like that, and now we doing the same thing,
yes.
And it's because as you journey through life and you go through trials, tribulations, aches and pains, and you realize why those mothers was praising them like they was or praying like they was, because they lived a little. You know, they lived a while, you know what I mean? So,
and they knew times like this was gonna come.
They knew times like this was gonna come, bro. All the time. And all the time. And you know, it's been said all the time, just like we're going to do now. We can't go into the church building. My grandfather used to always say it's going to be times like this, and that you ain't gonna be able to go in there, and you know sometimes we're like, well, come on, Paul, we're gonna be able to get in there, but look. You know, look where we at. You know, look where we at. So.
And your grandfather, man, he's strong fella. I love talking to him, man.
Appreciate
yeah,
it, man.
like you said, they saw this. They saw this stuff.
Yep, they saw it. So as a kid, like you said, you had a couple churches that laid the foundation for you. Where did the music ministry come in? What age and what did you first start playing?
So I first kind of dabbled into it. My mom would, she would buy me keyboard. First I've always been a drummer. That's my first.
So you were a drummer first.
Yeah, I always been a drummer. And then I started getting into, started wanting to get into keyboarding and everything. So, like I said, my mom, my grandparents, they bought me instruments and stuff, and then. Like I would constantly, go to church, and I would see, before I started playing myself, I would see other musicians play, some who've gone on before me play, and man, and I would start listening to stuff, and then I'll start tinkering, and next thing you know, God allowed me to be able to do it, man. And of course, as I got further along in school, I took the music class, but one thing, I wasn't really paying attention, because I feel like if I paid attention, I would have been maybe a little bit further than what I am now. But God gave it to me. At the end of the day, He helped me along and helped me to get the melodies and be able to, to do what I do with His help.
Now, what age did you start playing the drums? I didn't know you played the drums first, because I met you was keyboard.
I started playing drums probably around. Say age 9 or 10. 9 or 10.
Just in there, just before no one taught you, just
listen. I was in there. I got a chance to play. They would let me play in church, but I started off with wooden spoons and pots and pans. Pots and pans.
Wow.
And, just at first banging. Then I had, they would give me drum sets and stuff like little, Toys R Us drum sets that didn't last no more than a week or two.
But that's where it starts.
But as time got, time grew on, I just
took off with the drums.
Just kind of took off with it.
And it's crazy because I had a cousin that played, and I didn't have the coordination for the drum. I tried. You got to hit that bottom drum. And hitting that at the same time, I could do that up there. As Brother Tariq one time he did so hard. I could hit that. I could hit the chimes or the cymbals, right? With that bottom foot. No, I can't do all that together.
That's that workout.
I see Brother DeVell on her too. Another drummer. But
what's going on, man?
Yeah. So so it's interesting. So that was 9, 10 the drums. Now, what age did you say I want to start learning how to play keys? What age was that?
That came probably around. I'd say early teens, like 13, 14, something like that.
Okay.
And I had been I've been going to church, of course, like I said, I've been in church forever. And I had been wanting to play because at one time we didn't really have a keyboard player at the time. And so I was like, we didn't really have somebody playing the keys, so I was like, I've been wanting to play, I've been practicing, and I would go in between services and go up and play. But I didn't really have the courage to play. So the one sister that was at the church, she would always tell me, go ahead and play. You can. Go ahead and play. So one time I finally got the courage, and I went up there and played. And then I ended up, being that I knew the songs, I ended up playing for the service.
Wow. It just took off.
I ended up playing for the service, and then from there, it just it just started building.
I like what you said that when you talked about the gifts that God gave, because God gives us all gifts. Everyone has a certain gift that He's given us, some multiple gifts, whatever the case may be. But one thing you said is true, that it's all about the confidence.
Yeah.
To play. Like you said, you might have could have went up there earlier, or I'm sure you could have. But like you said, it took that extra push. It took you being comfortable in yourself playing to say, like as the sister said, come on up here and play. So somehow you just gotta get thrown in. And it's the same thing with whether it's praying in front of the church, definitely whether it's preaching, teaching. I mean, all those different things, even stuff that you might not be seeing a lot of in the church that we do. That's gifts, even administrative wise. That sometimes we don't think as people we can do these things,
right.
but God has always already equipped us,
right.
with these things. So it's amazing to me because again, when I met you, I said, man, he a bad boy in the keys. You know what I'm saying? And you humble, and I love you being humble. You man, but I'm a brag for you. Okay, I'm a brag for you. So it's amazing when I first talked to you that you were saying, I don't look at notes or whatever you call it. I don't look at none of that. I just play by the ear. So just tell me a little bit about like how did that come? Because one thing to play, because some people now they'll start off playing praise music or shout music, whatever you want to say, and then they'll go, or that's all they can play. Yeah. But you have a special ear because, like I said, man, it don't matter who it is. I mean, you come and someone starts saying, you just pick it up. So just tell me about, I know it might be hard to describe because it is a gift and something, but just tell me about how that came about, man. Because I mean, you started 15, 16, and you were able to hear and pick up like that. I mean, just tell me a little bit about that process.
Man, it's like you said, it's kind of,
it's hard to put in words.
But the best thing I can say, man, it's just the way that God gave it to me.
Like, was there one time that someone started singing and you just started, and then you was like, oh man, I can flow with this, or was it something you practiced at home hearing someone sing, or?
I would practice, and of course I would practice and make like little things, like keyboards, they come with certain tunes already, so I would kind of play along with it. But as I said, I had the teaching, in the class. Like I took general music. Majority, I wish I had paid attention more. However, it did teach me a little bit with pitch and everything, so I can build my pitch a little bit. But the rest of it, again, is God, because I don't know.
It's hard to say. Because I've seen people sometimes, you can tell someone hit. I mean, I don't know, it was an E flat or whatever. You hit this key. Like, do you know what that key is now? I mean, I'm sure now you probably do, but then you just again, it was still a learning process. That's what's amazing for me, man. Because again, man, you're a bad boy. You're a bad boy. You're a bad boy on them keys. So it's just amazing to me, and I've seen you, train up others, teach others. You're not one of those ones that come and say, give me X, Y, and Z to play. You've never been that. So I want to kind of now go into, as you started maturing in the Lord and playing and different things like that. How do you think the preparation is for musicians in the church? Let me tell you what I mean by that. Is that it's one thing for we get up, go to church, get ready, and obviously, church first starts at home. You can't wake up and not do what you need to do at home and just go to church. Then you need to prepare yourself, to get to commune with God and have that mindset. So for you though, I'm sure there's times in the service, and Brother Tariq, different ones can say as well in the comments. But like how with the move of God, like how do you? I don't want to say sit down on yourself. I know it's times you want to take off. You know what I mean? More times than you have, but you got to kind of keep it down. So just tell me about just the move, the move of God when the Spirit gets high, and how you kind of set the tone. Whether it's praise, whether it's worship, different things like that.
At that point, man, at points in the service like that, you got to be really sensitive. You got to be sensitive to. You got to be sensitive, number one, to the atmosphere where you at, and you got to be. I always try to be sensitive to the atmosphere where you at. And first of all, and I learned this now, but I never used to do this as much, as strong as I should. Pray before you go to a place, before you go anywhere. Pray before you go anywhere, because every atmosphere it might be different, right? Yeah, and it might be a little bit more than you can handle.
I got you.
You might see that you going to play and be a blessing, but you don't know what's lying in there. You don't know what's waiting for you. I know God's got a blessing, I preach and all that, but also you gotta have that armor. You gotta sometimes. Remember when I was at your church and I had preached.
Mm-hmm.
You got to tighten up that
Yeah, you got to tighten it up.
We all know that.
Can't just have it on any kind of way.
That's the same way. You know, as a musician, you got to tighten up, because I always look at it like this. I may not be in the pulpit preaching, but I'm assistant who's preaching. So my job is just as important.
That's a great point. And getting Real Sports Fan Podcast, got Brother DJ Change in the building. Appreciate everybody that's on here live, share, comment, all that good stuff. Tell somebody. So getting back to what you were saying, you made a good point about the preacher, but also even if you go back a step, the praise team. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of times you necessarily might not be a church, you might didn't practice with the praise team or anything like that. So even with that, is it really just if we all on one accord with God and you just flow that way, or is it one of those things where you just kind of take the lead from them depending on where you at and just kind of flow that way?
How I kind of do it is when I go and help, like if I help different praise teams, whatever, most of them sing songs that I heard before. But I learn now, everybody has a different way of singing.
Different way of singing it.
So what might happen at EDC, y'all might sing it one way, versus Mount Zion might sing it another way. You know, so you kind of gotta adjust to adjust to the flow, to the flow. You know, every church flows differently. You know,
and that's a good point. And the reason I asked it like that, because again, you're a humble dude, but I'm gonna say it for you. You can pick up anywhere. Everybody can't do that. You know, everybody can pick up. And I know it comes with practice and different things like that. You know, so like you said it correctly that, and I know shout out Minister Jonathan Fletcher. I see he on here as well. Another musician. You know, and Brother Tariq made a good point. But like he was saying, it's you know, you gotta listen to the spirit. Yeah. You know, most definitely how you flow. So going from the praise team, and then you touched on the preacher. Now, I know there's some preachers that they want you to hit the key, you know, every now, you know my mom, you know, I'm elder, and she wants you. She wants you go, you know, and the song that might say wait, and some that might don't need it. So even with that, is that just more of, you know, a thing where it's eye contact with y'all? It's just how it's flowing. Like what, you know, tell us a little bit about that. Do you have to push them sometimes, or do they push you? I guess what I'm saying.
Some can. It all depends. You got to be, again, it comes to being sensitive, and you gotta know how to, you gotta kind of connect with the person. So if I'm in a service, and I always look for one of two things. If they still have the Bible open, they're not ready yet. I always look for either they're going to give you a signal, like most preachers will go, or they'll go, come on, or if they close their Bible, close the Bible, then it's time. Because some of them, you don't want to push them too much, because you want them to get their points across. And you never know what somebody might need. So it's not going to help with me, you know, tuning them up and pushing them if they haven't got all that they needed yet.
That's right.
You know, so it's just a matter of being sensitive and sometimes they'll tell you beforehand. Like if I go to assist a preacher in the service, sometimes they'll tell you, you know, look for me, I'll give you a signal, or I'll come and get you.
Something like that. Gotcha. And that's what Pastor.
You gotta be.
Oh, good.
You gotta be sensitive, because if not, I can say this too, and no offense to nobody, but sometimes you know you had some preachers, they'll embarrass you and tell you they'll embarrass you.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah, I'm not ready yet, or
they put it right over the microphone.
Yeah. And that's what Pastor Joni was saying. Pastor Joni Brooks was saying. Love you, Pastor.
Hey,
you
Pastor
know,
Brooks.
It's the flow of the spirit.
Yeah.
You know, going with the flow of the spirit, and that means a lot. You know, by moving with the flow. Shout out Lady Chain, and see her on here.
Love you, babe.
Lady Chain. You know, so that's a great point. Yeah, for sure. That's a great point. So now I want to get into. I still want to stay there, but talk to me a little bit about whether you're at your home church or in a way church, about musicians and pay. And the reason I want to bring that up is because, you know, times have kind of changed, and there's more. Devin's on here too. What's up, Devin? There's more. I would say there's more younger musicians that I see now than I would say 20, 30 years ago. And I may be wrong, but I'm just saying when I was growing up, a lot of the ones they were the older mothers or I can only speak for me. I had some younger cousins that played and stuff like that. But a lot of times back then at the home church, they would tell you, you just playing because that's a gift that God gave you, but you ain't gonna get paid. Nowadays, we've kind of laxed off of that to where if it's your home church, it's a service and they'll give you something. So let's first talk about the home church. As far as should musicians get paid? Should they not get paid? But look, this is, I know it's a real sports podcast, but this is a real podcast. We talk about it all. So again, this ain't a view from my church, from my pastor. This is Lance Wilson talking. I ain't gonna forget the title, all that. Yeah. I want to know, and I know something good for you to say. So just tell me about that. Musicians getting paid, not paid, and just how do you feel about the ones that say they don't need to get paid because you go here anyway, and this, that, and the third. So just talk a little bit about that.
Now I come from the same kind of thing. Like my home church, they never, you're doing your service to the Lord. You shouldn't expect money. But at the same time, I always tell people, I tell people this: if I ask you, like let's just say if I ask you, Lance, can you take me to Baltimore? And you get in your car, you drive into Baltimore. I don't know if you use your last little bit of gas or not, but then we get to the destination, I hit you with a thank you. You'd be like, naturally, you'd be like, you're not gonna pay, you're not gonna pay me. I drove my car, you don't. So that's the same thing. Musicians, some of us, we come. If we gotta bring our own, we gotta look at travel. We gotta look at if we gotta bring our own equipment and set up. And then, if you really, like I said, if you really look at it from the spiritual side, you pouring yourself out into the service, playing and trying to flow and everything. That's tiresome. And then you gotta. Then after that, after all of that, some services, they like to praise a little bit more than others, if I can say that. And the fire might be there a little bit stronger than others. So, after that, you worn out, and then you gotta pack up. So I feel like musicians, you may not get a whole lot of money, but I feel like churches should give a low offering, at least towards gas. That's me. I've always, if I go somewhere, people ask me, what do you charge? Most of the time I say whatever God lays on your heart. But that's before. Now I'm like, I put a little minimum on myself, and I still count myself to be to be low because I tell people whatever whatever you can give, but my lowest is like $50. I feel like that. It's time and energy.
It's time and energy. And let's stay there. This is good. I got a lot of musicians on here. I want y'all to chime in. I see Isaiah on here and everything. And Pastor Joni was saying that the servant is worthy. That it is a ministry. And Pastor Trout said he believes in conversation. But don't come with a price tag. That's where I'm going at, Pastor. Yes. That's where I'm going at right there. And that's what I want to say because I know you were going. Yes. You started talking about going to an away church, and I do want to get back to home. But that's the thing. And to me, it doesn't matter if you're a musician or a preacher. But don't come with an exact price of I got to get this, I'm trying to stay on the musician, but it's preachers that come and say, look, I need X, Y, Z, this is the contract, I need Marlboro get this, and I ain't trying to go there, but I had to throw that in there. But it happens. I say
it's real.
Yeah, but for musicians, you're right, because I can speak for you. Never come and say, hey, I need boom, 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 nothing like that. So that's why I wanted to get that feedback from you, from that. Now we're gonna go back to if someone calls you good, but staying home real quick. Do you think if you're a member of that church, should you get paid? And I mean, not just keyboard players, but drummers. Because sometimes the keyboard player might get something, but the drummer don't. Well, so how should how should we get that? Then you got to get then that brings in guitar players, and So sometimes people say it's a trickle down.
I feel like the drummer. If you really look at it, I feel like You know, the drummer should get paid too, because we sweat. We sweating. We trying to. We sweat. We providing the beat and providing the tempo. And
it's a lot. You be
like
dirty there.
Listen,
So I need towel some water. Right? Y'all be going. You know. So I
towel some water. Sometimes you feel like you need a hose. But you know, I feel like everybody should get something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can understand you might not can give everybody the same thing, but I feel like everybody should get something because again,
it's a service.
It's a service.
Yeah.
You know, something even if it's not more than something towards your gas. You know, here's something put in your gas tank. You can't afford to pay everybody the same thing, but just a little token.
Yeah.
Would be nice.
And Pastor Johnny, you're right. That music is ministry, and my grandma, I tell you, look, she'll tell you, I speak for her. You know her. Look, she'll tell you, I love the Lord, but listen, I like some music too, because for a long time, like I said, we didn't have music, you know, all the time at my place. It was in and out. Even when we started at EDC, you know, we didn't have music. So when we get it, there's nothing wrong with, like you said, assisting and helping. But she'll go ahead and say, come on, let's get that going.
She tell me she boy, hit that keyboard.
Hit that keyboard. That's right. She want to hit that keyboard. You know. So there's nothing wrong with that. And it's not a right or wrong for me. I'm asking and all that. This is good.
Yeah.
This is good stuff right here. Got a lot of comments as well. I want to get to some of y'all comments real quick here. Brother Isaiah said that location plays a big role.
Yeah.
Preacher knows what they are getting out of you when they book you. Very true. They wouldn't call if they didn't like the music you play. That's definitely true.
Or they didn't like your spirit.
Brother Tariq, you have to look at the church financially. I would never strain the ministry, but the musicians should tithe and give offerings. But that's another topic.
That's true too.
No, stay there real quick.
That's true.
That's good. Because this is the thing. Let's stay at the home church for a minute. Let's stay at the home church, and that's a good point. Now, if you're not tithing or giving offering, but you're accepting that gift every time, that month every time, then that is where you're wrong.
Yeah.
Because you're posted tithe. you know, you're supposed to get your 10%. So that's a very good point, Mr. Tariq. That's very true. And Pastor Johnny, Sister Brittenham, that is so true. That is so true. Mr. Price, I see you on here too, sir. So that's a great point that you made about that, and the musicians as well about the home church. There's nothing wrong with giving them something, but like you said, take care of your business as well.
Yeah,
you know, and you give back. Right.
Because I mean, it's you gotta be fair. Keep that connection with you and God as well.
Right. It's no different than a preacher. They come, they get whatever amount that the church can give them at that time, and a lot, and then when they get that, they still take 10% off of what they give them $100 to take $10 put that So I definitely get what you're saying, and that's a great point that all you made. Have you ever been in a situation where you've been called to go to another church and you get there, you just say, it's just something not right about whether it's the spirit of it, or maybe they told you they would give you X, Y, and Z and they didn't. Have you ever ran into a situation like that? And if so, did you go back?
I have ran into a situation like that. Well, I've ran into a few over my years of playing, but one time, and my wife can attest to this. If she still is on here. She traveled with me, and we went to an event which was on the other side of the bridge, and so
I think you talked about
it was told to me one time that I would receive XYZ. Now again, like Pastor Trot said, I didn't go. I never go in saying, "Oh, you got to pay me this or else." No, but they told me I'll give you XYZ when you went on the day of the event. So I'm like, okay, cool. I went. I made preparations. My wife and I made preparations with our schedules so I can be able to go to rehearsal. Went to the event. Did the event that day, and come to the end of the event, and it was like, oh, I don't know nothing about that. I don't know nothing about that. So
you over across the bridge.
Yeah, it set in 2 hours. Set in 2 hours of traffic, and traffic would stop and go. 2 hours of traffic, and it was like, oh, I don't know nothing about this, and I was like, Oh, wow. And so, needless to say, thank God that God gave us wisdom.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we put some money aside.
Yeah.
Because
Thank God for
otherwise,
that wisdom.
we had, and at the time, it made us to have enough gas to get back because we used our last gas to get there. And we got a little something to eat and made it back home. But thank God for that wisdom.
Yeah.
Now, did I ever go back to helping, helping to events like that? No.
Yeah.
I haven't, and at the time, now it's not saying, being that I have a helpful heart, I may try it again, but I will make sure everything is in stipulation first, but I would do it a different way. But, I just...
No, I definitely.
That comes with being prayerful and being mindful. Because my thing is, I have a heart to help everybody. My wife will tell me, she tells me this all the time.
Sometimes you gotta say no.
She'll say, no, I've told her places that, have called me, or people that have called me to play, and she's like, hon, something ain't right about this in my spirit. And I'm fussing because I want to help, but I'm not paying attention to it.
Some people will try to take advantage of you. If they know you got a kind heart and you ain't gonna say no, and they know, they could have got this person, but this person gonna charge $50 more, and they can get you, and you better anyway. But bro, DJ, he ain't gonna charge me. We gonna get him. And sometimes they will try to, take advantage of you. And I've had it happen before, in ministry as well. With going, places and different things like that. So, like you said, you gotta be mindful, and you gotta pray. You gotta pray, because the thing about music, I'm just like my grandma. It doesn't make a service, but it helps a service.
Yeah.
You understand? And it don't mean that you should already go in there giving God praise. And open up your own mouth. But the music does help. Cause I'm the same way. It's a long time we didn't have a keyboard player, and I even had to ask God forgive, because it used to frustrate me and Mr. Tyreek here, that we finally get someone, and then y'all sitting down on God. You want the music, and now you got it, and you're still sitting there like you watching a performance. But that's a whole other. Yeah, it's Papa Jones God. It's not Papa Jones. That's a whole other thing. But so that, I thank you, man, for that perspective on that, because that's just one of the things that I wanted to hear, and something that was laid on my heart, just to ask, because. Sometimes we always blame them. That's just a new generation. Well, they want to get paid, but no, it's not. It's not about that. And I guarantee that back in the day, it was probably more people getting paid than we even knew of. We just didn't know. And nowadays, it's not even really an excuse, because what you got now, you don't just got to write a check. You got Cash App. What is it? Venmo, whatever else stuff. PayPal. I mean, you got so many options nowadays. You hit a button, boom, boom, boom. And thank God for all that stuff now, with everything going on and this, that, and the third. So that is very true.
Technology.
That is very true. And yes, Pastor Junior, you're so right. You got to listen to your red. Brother Isaiah, there's nothing worse than accepting an engagement, and the broker gives you an agreed price. And then when service is over, you have to chase them down for the check. Yeah. I don't like feeling because at the point I'm back. I agree. You shouldn't have to chase nobody down if that agreement was already made. That's how it should be. That's
why it helps to have and people been telling me to do this, but I haven't done it. But it helps to have a contract. And you don't. And me, I'm not the person to do that, because I feel like I want to help people, but I don't want people to look at me funny. But then you got to look at your experiences and take your lessons.
And that's an interesting thing, because that's a whole other subject, contract or no contract. Because I see what you're saying. I mean, sometimes the word of mouth, isn't good. But then I always look at it, if every musician had a contract, if every preacher had a contract, if we would really be into a lot. And some, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong or nothing like that, because sometimes you have to do that, and I've seen people do that. But it just depends. And like you said, it's all about praying and asking God where to go, whether it's your home church, because sometimes they might try to take advantage of you, or it's going away, or it's going away. So, yeah.
And one thing about that with home church, I can say, my pastor now, I will say she does look out. She does look out for me. She does look out for me, and she is a stickler on taking care of musicians as well. And so I shout out to her, Pastor Pat Jones.
I like what Pastor Jones said. They pay to get the grass cut. You know, we pay to get that. That's very good. Pay to get the grass cut, so why not pay for another stuff?
Yeah.
That's very true.
Listen,
that's very
wow.
true. Very true. So, but man, that's
funny.
You know,
that's
those are great points. Those are great points. So we getting ready to close again. I appreciate everybody listening, and Brother DJ, I got one more question for him, and we're gonna get out of here. But thank you. Even after this, you know, share, you know, keep commenting, you know, all that good stuff. Might be some musicians out there that need to hear this and different things like that. I guess my question for you now, man, is how are you coping right now? Because you someone that, like you said, you constantly used to playing, and I ain't just talking about on Sundays. I'm talking about Fridays and through the week and stuff like that, man. So, I mean, how's it been not being able to play on the regular? I mean, I'm sure you got to keep our home and stuff like that, but still, you know, I know it's not necessarily the same. So how you been coping with it's not being able to play, man? You know?
Well, man, seriously, been taking this downtime to kind of just still try to practice and try to better myself.
Yeah,
you know, still, I still be playing, you know, still go over songs and stuff, but just take this time to just practice and try to just better. Just get better. Practice and pray and all of that.
And get the necessary rest too.
And the rest too. And it's an adjustment because, like I said, I'm used to going, but you know, this time right now, you know, while everybody looking at what's going on, it's really a blessing because it gives you time to just be one-on-one with yourself and commune with you and God, of course, and just kind of just naturally just rest and relax and studying better yourself.
One other thing I did, I know I said that's the last question. One other thing that this came to me too is how do y'all play off of each other? And I don't mean the keyboard and the drummer, because I've seen how y'all do that, and that's y'all some bad boys. You know, I see y'all get a signal, this, that, and the third. But sometimes I see you go play. Sometimes you had two keyboard players. You have maybe a keyboard, one on the keyboard, one on the organ, stuff like that. So how do you decide? How do you play off each other? Like I don't know about.
So,
you know, how do you? Who takes the lead? Who play? You know.
Well, first of all, you gotta kind of decide that. You gotta kind of decide that who's going to be, because if I'm there, let's say Tyreek for example, if I'm there and I come, say he asked me to come and help him out. Obviously, he's gonna be the person to lead. So I kind of you got to decide. You kind of decide who's leading, and then you follow off their signals. So if you're a musician as well, like say if he's running the main keys, we got a drummer. I might be running key bass. You know. He still would be telling me, you know, he's still telling me what key, what numbers. You know, I'm basically following off of him. He's the leader.
I got you.
He's the leader.
I got you.
So you know, it's vice versa. Like I say, with the keyboard and the organ. Like, you know, if I'm going to, you know, another person's church and they might have the organ and they might want me to bring my keys. Same way, they on organ. I'm still vibing. I'm still following them because they know their church flow. You know, I'm not gonna come in there and just be like, we're gonna do this way. You know, I'm just gonna be like, listen, I'm following off of you. I'm following off of you.
Do you ever? And this holy thing just coming to me.
Listen, man.
Do you ever? Because I've seen this sometimes in services where the Spirit is trying to take us to a place, you know, to a higher place, and sometimes it's like, you know, I talked about first people sitting down, but I ain't even talking about the same sitting down. I'm talking about sometimes whether it's the musicians or the MC. Obviously, you know, I do a lot of MCing.
Yeah.
Like I guess my question is why is it sometimes? I mean, I know it's obviously you got to pray and even y'all got to fast. I mean, you know, it's no different from us, but I guess sometimes I could even see, and I'm not a player where he want to really take us. The Holy Spirit really want to take us, but we kind of stay there. I mean, what is that? Does that just come from experience? Does it come from how your relationship is with God? Does it come from just the flow? You know, you know. I mean, I guess what I'm asking is how do you know? You know, when the hey, let's go. When the shift. Thank you. When the shift. That's all.
Again, that goes back to having consistent relationship in prayer and being sensitive. If you, it helps. Also, it always helps if you pray before you go into pray once you even get the call. You know, once you even get the call to play, like somebody say, I need you come next Friday. I'm praying now because I'm like, you know, first of all, Lord, let me know whether I should go or whether I should call to decline. you know, and then if he doesn't say decline, you just gotta you gotta have that prayer, you know, have that prayer time and have that have that sensitivity to the spirit. You gotta have that sensitivity, because if not, you don't know what you want.
You can mess something up. Yeah, you can get messed up or mess up.
You can get sidetracked and going off, and you just don't know. And you gotta, and most of all, not even that. You gotta, if I'm assisting a preacher, like, okay, the times that I've helped you out, you know, we've gone places. You gotta be sensitive to. You gotta be sensitive to know how you're gonna flow.
How long?
How you're gonna flow, because you know, or know. It's all in sensitivity. You got to know when to shift and when to go where. Because sometimes, like I've said this before, I think to somebody else, what might feel like a praise break moment get ready to spark is nothing. May not be time for a praise break at track. It might just be high worship. You know what I mean? So what may look like that, like it's gonna be that, it's, you got to be sensitive. It might not be time for a dance right now.
And great point. And I want to give that. And my former boss on here, Mr. Dave Hoover, great point. They said sometimes we're programmed to a schedule, and we're forced out of the spirit. And that's so true. That sometimes we on that schedule. What time? At 12 o'clock? Oh no, by 12 o'clock we should be taking off. By 12:30 we should be doing this. Yeah. And that's so true. That schedule stuff. That's been done. We got it.
Sometimes I've been there too. Sometimes you got to listen. You overbooked yourself because you're looking at your phone like, oh, I got a 4 o'clock service here, but here it's like it's 2:30, 2:30, and I got to go. Schedule.
Because I even seen, you at times we'll get eye contact like, man, he trying to do something, and we still, you know what I mean? He trying to take us, So and I probably, this is my last point. I've seen. Is it important? And let's say DJ. The keyboard player first, because I didn't know you was that bad on the drums. I didn't know you started on the drums, and you bad boy on the drums too. Man. But let's say you on the keys. Is it important for you if you go somewhere to bring your own drummer, or if you know they have a drummer, you don't even worry about that? And the reason I'm asking that because I know if you ask your drummer to come, it's not that the church doesn't take care of that. I've seen you take care of your drummer. Because you bought them, they didn't ask you. You see what I'm saying? They didn't ask for the drummer. So just talk a little bit about that. Do you do that because you know how y'all gonna flow off each other, or you don't bother depending on where you go?
No, I mean I prefer always to have a drummer with me. To have a drummer with me, because like you said, somebody that knows what I'm gonna do, that knows how to flow with me as well. Yeah. Because it's and I don't want to say it like this, but. It's nothing like when you trying to go somewhere and somebody don't know how to flow with you. So if I'm trying to go into a praise break, you get some drummers they may not can keep up with a praise break. Gotcha. They may not know. They may not know how to hits or the shift or whatever. So it's I always just try to have somebody that's just gonna be able to flow and bring that sound with me. And so, but there's been a couple churches that I've been to, and it's like I kind of, whether I couldn't really find one at the time, so I still kind of be able to flow with the drummer that's there, at the same time, it's a blessing for them. It's a blessing for them because you teach them something that they didn't know.
Yeah. And I'm gonna leave with this, and just to give you a sports analogy real quick. In sports and basketball, that's what you call two-way players. Yeah. A guy that plays great offense, great defense. Some names come to mind: Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, just to name a few.
Paul George.
I give you credit, Brother Tariq, Mr. Tariq credit, Brother Isaiah, Brother Devin, because y'all do both. It's not, it used to be either you play the drums or you play the keys. Man, all y'all can not only play both, not only play both, but are great at both. Again, you humble. I'm saying it for y'all. Y'all are great at both, because I know y'all are great at both. So again, I commend y'all. Keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate
don't be discouraged. Yeah. Keep moving forward, and just keep doing you, man. Again, you know, I appreciate you.
Listen, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate
it. No
you
problem.
having me on this, man.
Man, no problem, man.
I always wanted to do something like this, but you know, it was always a timing thing, you know, whenever.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I saw you
we
started,
talked about
I saw you started
we
doing this.
talked
I was
about
like,
it.
gee, let me hit him up. You know, I know he does the sports thing. We'll see if he has that perspective as well.
I'm glad you did.
I'm glad for this platform, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming. Thank you, everybody going on the live, man.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for
sure,
you know, for supporting not only me, but supporting Lance. You know, supporting. Man. Continue to watch his.
Appreciate it.
Continue to watch his podcast.
7 o'clock. We back next week. Got Brother Denzel coming to talk about his book. So it's gonna be good stuff, man. Again, everybody, you know, go ahead and share this when you're done if you don't mind. And
I appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Pastor Brooks. Who else is on? Pastor Brooks. Pastor Trot.
Mr. Tyree.
Isaiah. Tyree. Devin.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you, Dave.
Yep.
Yeah. So thank God, and like Pastor said, you're a blessing to the body of Christ. Yeah. Oh yeah, Lady Kane.
Love you, babe.
So we appreciate y'all, Real Sports Fan Podcast. We out. Peace.